forward, CDC 2029 forward. Forward. Down, 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 suffering down. Down. Down, down, down to poverty down. Down. Down, 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 down to police brutality down. Down. Down, 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 down to police brutality down. Down. Amanda. Way to. Amanda. Way to. Away to. Amanda. Away to. Amanda. Reactionary tendency. Reactionary tendency. Reactionary tendency. Yellow machine. Yellow machine. Yellow machine. Fresh bread. Fresh bread. Fresh bread. Oh, say. Well, I thank you. Comrades, members of the folk estates, our illustrious ground forces, and members of the honor ground affairs, distinguished as Liberia is put on the crossroad, where the issue of my leadership has become the democratic integrity of the state. It has always been an Nigerian responsibility, the revolutionary responsibility of the party. In critical times like this, the party to speak to electing it a cascade of critical national issues. And so at this juncture, we'd like to invite you to one of the regular monthly press conferences being held right at the sacred revolutionary political theater named in honor of Mataya Comrade Pabisolo. So we'd like to invite you, all our partisans whom we are abroad, as a party who unmatched contradictions in the motherland, to provide the way forward for the mobility of the party movement towards 2029. Amanda! And so quickly, because of time, comrades, and I call upon Comrade Memesi Kaba, who will do for us recognition of party officials. Will do for us recognition of some party officials as well as distinguished personalities that have come to face this all-important program.
In Jesus' name, CDC are healed on the principle of God. Before you do something, so Father, I tell you thank you, I give you the honor. I tell you thank you for breaking cancer and cover over the population of some of our team. I tell you thank you that I will present my party chairman and my son, my coaching. Mama Sikaba and the rest of the party officials, the member of coalition, cover with the blood of Jesus. I soak with the blood of Jesus. No weapon will fight against us shall prosper. Thank you, Jeremiah said. You do Jeremiah to tell the people they are wrong to you. Say a very small from Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 1. He said, while you were in your mother who already choose you, I said that in you to be the prophet of the nation. They are about to go to the battlefront. Jehovah God will cover every one of her with the blood. He sent Joshua. He said that the people be thinking and you will win the victory. I tell you, thank you for victory over the world.
Distinguished partisans, members of the Fourth Estate, allow me to stand on the existing protocols. I am pleasingly honored to be assigned to this responsibility. Standing before you, I'm Memesi Kaba, Assistant Secretary for Press and Propaganda, the People's Movement. I have the pleasing honor now to introduce to you and to recognize the Masters Chairman in person of Honorable Janga Ko. Of the Masters CDC, and I'm humbled to introduce a mentor, a leader, and a revolutionary. In person of Honorable Jefferson Tamakosi. Secretary General of the People's Movement. I'm also pleased to introduce to you a young female revolutionary representative of Grand Cape Mountain District number 1, in person of Honorable Bintu Masale. Madam Masale, being a young woman representing us at the legislature, speaks volume to the CDC's commitment to promoting gender equality and youth empowerment. Not many parties will see leadership in young people and stratify them. There were a lot of people that were being chosen, but our party and the political leader believe in molding the minds of young people. We are in a dispensation where young people should take onto leadership. Sure. This dispensation, Liberia, is a young people on board because they are visionaries. Those old folks need to be taken care of by the young people. Unfortunately, there's a contradiction in the national leadership. And we will be around to erect the necessary checkpoint. As time goes by, we'll continue to recognize people. I'd like to recognize now, respectfully, Honorable Gift, Honorable Sedi, who is the chairman for Monrovia County. We'd like to recognize all of our partisans in leadership and our ordinary partisans. You are the gatekeepers of this revolution. And you are very important to the revolution. Don't be deterred. There are so many things happening in our country. At this juncture, being the major political party in our country, it is important that we don't remain silent. We have to speak to these issues. Liberians are being witch hunted simply because they don't agree with the ruling party. This country belongs to every Liberian, regardless of your political side. We all cannot support the same side. Our people houses are burning. The government has not spoken to them. People are being made homeless, some of whom are supporters of the government. That's been very insensitive to the plight of the people that we serve. Making our people homeless. You talk about drugs. We have the Zumi drugs killing young people. As a young woman, I feel so devastated seeing my fellow young people being killed by drugs. Somebody will ask, what did you do? As a government, we made a lot of interventions. We introduced a very draconian law, drugs law. We were not just sitting supine. We made interventions. But these people told us that we were inept, we were uneducated. They claim to be the educated people that understand everything. Now they've come, they're fluctuating in every sector of government, making us to understand that they are not educated. Because those who claim to be educated will act like educated people. But unfortunately, it's the contradiction. They are empowering their partisans and getting other people out of jail. It is unacceptable. And we cannot be here as massive leaders and not speaking to these issues. It is good that we stand for something than to just sit and remain quiet. That is not the nature of the CDC. We will continue to speak to these issues because Mr. Walker is under mandate to provide basic services for our people and be sensitive to the plight of every Liberian. He is not president for Unity Party, he's president for Liberians, regardless of what political party you come from, regardless of what religion you come from. He's under the mandate to provide security and protection for all of us, regardless of where we come from. It is beyond this backdrop and so many things that we've come here today to erect the checkpoint and sharpen the contradiction in these inept government officials who are leading our country in the wrong direction, a wrong trajectory, and we will not sit and watch them do that. They said we increase rice price. When we came to power, rice price of $15. We dropped the price, but due to global economic crisis, we were able to talk to our people and increase the rice price. We made it at 15, we make it $13.50. But due to economic challenges, we were able to have conversation with the business people for which the bride price went up to, I think, $17. They said that was wrong. We were insensitive to the plight of the people. Today they've come to power, we can't even see rest. Rest is being sold for $20, $21 around. That was some of the promises you made. What they said that our people are struggling to get food to eat. What they say our people do not have access to rice. What happened to the promises you made? It is business beyond usual. They said it was never going to be business as usual. But it's not just business as usual. It is business beyond usual. You said you bring in machine. We are all happy one Liberia to be developed. But you came to power on the matter of transparency and accountability. What happens to accountability? What happened to the procurement process? Is it a loan? If it's a loan, how did we get there? The government needs to stop. So we will be able to erect the necessary checkpoint. With no delay, I do not want to procrastinate much of your time. I will come back, but at this juncture, I will give the podium back to Comrade Abby Wisdom. Thank you so very much.
Amanda. And so we don't want to waste time because we said we cannot keep the chairman hostage. On the basis of that, on our itinerary we have the man who controls the secretariat, the man who dots the I and crosses the T, the man who will speak to the microphone and to the bottom masses of our people on issues that confronting the motherland. They will delve into other critical issues. You have been around for a very long period of time. You have been in the trenches. You have been in the contested zone. You have been in the battle zone, and currently is now in the liberation zone. Comrade Adelor, Jefferson Tamakoji, the weapon of the microphone.
Secretary General of the Opposition Coalition for Democratic Change.
Distinguished partisans, it's always my pleasing duty to be called to duty. I want to seize this time to deeply appreciate the sovereignty of our Most High God. It is in His wisdom and understanding that each and every one of us continue to exist with good health and long life. Words are inadequate to express how deeply we are appreciative of His unspecified blessing and mercy upon our lives. So we have come before Him at this moment, like our mothers have prayed in total submission and obedience. The CDC, not only it is a people's party, but it is a religious movement. And that's why we enjoyed, unfortunately, the fullness of godliness and wisdom. And that's why when CDC is put in the position, it does the unusual. Even with the purported perception that CDC is incompetent and CDC cannot do what you may be thinking about. But those of quote-unquote people who claims to be the know-it-all group of people, they have fallen short below the belt to even attempt to survive what the CDC have performed. Strangely, someone asks me, say, what is it about the CDC you survive in difficulties? During your year, it was a year of by-elections. During your year, it was a year of natural peril, COVID-19. The United States first and second to none in the world, but COVID was ravishing the world. Under his leadership, Excellency Dr. George Monrovia, people were being paid when they were sick at home. It took the genius of the CDC leadership. With all of the cross-pollination of issues and complexity, the CDC provided guardians and leadership, authentic ones. And CDC was always thinking about the people. And for us, the biggest issues in this country is to address the issues of the people. So today we hear honor the leadership, the astute leadership of Comrade Chairperson Augusto Changa Kou. Courageousness with a sense of deliberate decisiveness. Today he's here to x-ray, unpack the issues. And I've come to lay the basis on a very important responsibility. We have sat here and listened to you. We're not in rush. They're genuine people. And sometimes we're listening to them, and you often hear them say to you, the CDC is a revolutionary institution who understand the dialectics and the nuances about the people's issue. You don't teach us this thing, huh? We know what's the issue. I know what you're talking about. They are very good at scapegoating. And I hear a man with a certain cannot change. You just got a chance. With you, it's always an opportunity to explore these people. But when we came to you before, we didn't tell you that our struggle was a not-a-mean football game. These people have been in trends here for decades upon decades. We have to fight them in all sense. We went there, they fought us, we come back, the revolution returned. So true. At that time, you will not depend on me to fight. At that time, you will be armed and equipped with what it takes to defend the mother's land. And there will be no room for these wicked, desperate political desperado who survives for lies. And today we say it was not a quest for change, but it's still a quest for changes. And when we say to you that it was not rescue, but it was risky. It was a risky mission. Because it was enveloped with selfishness, with greed. And that's what it was enveloped with. And somebody said to me in several times, he said, I want to apologize for Mercy. I said, but why? He said, I thought it was a unity party. I said, what is it? It's a user party. Not a unity party. It's a user party. It's a party that comes to use for its personal growth. But I trust the ability of this chairperson. Want to say to our partisan, do not bother. We're keeping an eye on them, full eye on them. We understanding them. We know them. They are at a range on a daily business of what I know for the world. We know them from bottom to top. We have an eye on them. We understand what all they're doing. Those of our people, they are, those Liberians, they are intimidating. We want to say to you, the chairman asked me to be here. The day we come here and we're facing the microphone, we can rest assured that day will be a day of reckoning. Don't worry about yourself and stop it. Don't mind them. Or the party that are talking, don't mind them. They won't find a escape route. They will come here and show to the Liberian people what they are capable of doing. Don't let them to escape the CDC and say, oh, we wanted to do this, but at the CDC. The CDC is here. We are focused on His Excellency. We are working with our party, spend our energy and ensuring across the country. So we have in our engagement, I want to say thank you to the political leaders who have done extremely well of understanding what it takes to get us to where we are and setting the party on course. A lot of things coming. We're asking the Liberian people, we are here. We're not visiting. We are an authentic group of political institutions. We're here to stay. We have no intention to visit. Those are the people do listen to before I take one seat. Sometimes it's very interesting. You see, it's a very interesting place. You reach on the state cover. You have never survived as a being before. Never have you. You never survived. And that's why it's strange to you. When somebody asks you a question, you get free rated and you get into bullying a progressive, energetic, sclerotic character like Manasi Kabal. But you're wasting your time. Your expression doesn't define who she is. She was trained to confront creature like you who survived on political opportunism. We will stay here. We don't leave this place. We don't say this place is better than you. You don't have to be. You have your youth and Mr. Walker. Take us from here. you know, it's not possible when you came and bought, when you bought that thing and we told you it was an arrangement, and, you know, to hustle. And you thought we're enjoying. Now, what reason? What is sympathy you enjoying? Like a flint. We can just slap our fingers. And history will be called to order. So you think you pass in here and you think what you're doing, and you see when you enter the town, so normally we are traditional people. The fine, you know, when you come, when the owners of the fine go cultivating the fine, when people that enter the town, they can be consumed by the absence of the time and think they are the owners of that time. No, you're not. The owners are farming because they know they were too new. So you down there, you can do kakaleka and be doing, you know, you be jumping tactic, you know, beating your tactic and things. So you think, oh, we know exactly what is it. We're going to put our people children, you will be here, you will work. Very soon you will go to your office, your office will see you, you'll be afraid to enter and you'll be escaping because you might have desperately disappointed, not only the brain but disappoint yourself, and you'll find no comfort in your respective spaces. It is the acknowledgement of the hunter. We don't worry about where because we know your end. We see your end before you begin. And that's why we look at you. We don't need to put effort. Because Mr. Parker presiding in an auto-powered government. The country is balloting itself. I see the president. That's why you see some of these schemers are trying to escape You come here, instead of you apologizing, instead of you asking for forgiveness and surrendering, after surrender, it's don't matter in the night. They are creeping in the night and calling back and forth. They're scary. Don't matter, very scary. They ask, oh, you know, we want family, oh, yeah, and they suddenly bring local politics to that. So what you do is that also you think here, oh, what? We know that they're authentic people. We don't want to talk much about that. We want to say to you, this desperation of change instead of change will be fully known by the Liberian people. The Unity Party that is now being known as a user party will also be known by the Liberian people. So that when you decide to take a decision with them, that decision in the biblical world, the user party will be confined in purgatory, never to return. And that's how you got to do. When you confine them in purgatory, it's become unpardonable. Nothing there can be pardoned. And the caricature God who today now say to us, but partisans, thank you for your standing courage. Those of you who go and stay self-Liberian, all of you will document it, we know. You know the message, we gave you the code already. Don't reveal the code. Just capture the code. From the police to the EPS to the various government agency and everywhere you are, foreign ministry, capture the code. Very soon we'll unleash and we'll decode. And the world celebrates the church so Chairman Augusto Changa Kuhu, the commanding general of the fighting forces of the People's Party.
national executive here present, members of our CDC, legislative caucus, cadres and militants, members of the food estate. We have again assembled here today to continue the documentation of failure regime. So, before I start to read the prayer text, the people can clearly see the difference now between the CDC government and the Unity Party government. Because the immediate victims of the Unity Party government are the ordinary Liberian people. They are the immediate victims, starting from the killing of innocent people in jail, the harassment of motorcyclists, the harassment of civil servants. These people continue to demonstrate that they represent an elite class of our people. They are dismissing people in the government who are making as low as 150. They are hiring people and paying them thousands of dollars. That tells you the sharp contrast between the Unity Party government and the CDC government. The CDC government is a people-centered government. The CDC government took office like that. It didn't have the power to dismiss. Just as the fairly Unity Party government is doing today, the CDC was up there. Begin to do arbitrary dismissals and witch hunting. But in the wisdom of His Excellency, Dr. George Monrovia, Liberia is a small country. We are all one people. And so the CDC government, even to the dislike of hardcore seditions, government was mandated, government was mandated to not to touch people in offices who were perceived to be Unity Party supporters. And that was done from a position of strength. Not that we didn't know that we had Unity Party people working in the offices, no. But the president being who he is, the president has demonstrated, as you saw the 2023 election, as painful as it was, in conceding defeat on a very small margin that I refer to as a margin of error. Because there were elements in the country. You saw Bob Naked and all the bullshit around the country. People threatening the country with war, threatening the country with instability. You saw the murder of ordinary citizens in Lofa, in Nimba, in Monrovia. So these people are looking for an excuse to reignite a civil war in Liberia. And so I want sedition for you to actually put on your lenses. And as painful as it is, with conceding on a very low margin, we are going to quote, because there were reports of discrepancies all around the country. But there were elements in the country. You saw the Unity Party, I regard the Unity Party as a party that damaged the moral fabric of the country. Because if you can take a confessed murderer, Bob Naked, and he was one of the moral compass, one of the moral leaders of the Unity Party. So you saw that the country was heading in the wrong direction. You saw that these people were gathering, these people were training people all around the country. You saw what happened during the 6th year of President Weah. We were hitting people who were insulting the presidency. So the Unity Party is a government, it's a party that destroyed the moral fabric. Now they don't have the guts to even condemn when people are insulting the presidency. But they celebrated these people. People trooped from their various districts into District 10. Yeah. And because they were happy when Oyaka Kolova was insulting the presidency. Today, so even our clergy and all of them are condemned. Today, they have a dilemma. I think you condemn. You have a dilemma. It's a moral dilemma because you accept the standard. It is acceptable to insult the presidency. And so now you have no moral authority. You have no moral authority for the quest for native power. You damage the moral fabric of the country. We saw this coming. And so the Liberian people can see that there's a stark difference between the Unity Party. Even in the offices, they are beginning to regret. Because we didn't bother them. We went to these offices, we didn't bother them. We were trying to hire qualified seditionists, paying them as low as $150. The seditionists were being insulted all around the country. So they were being insulted in their communities. So we want to show that the CDC is not a naked power. No. The CDC is a people's movement that understand that we will confront the challenges that this country faces. The challenge of education, the challenge of development, healthcare. These are the issues that we will combat. Because now a quest for native power. You see, as a government, we have had this new access in the Kenyan government. But in general terms, the CDC was an authentic regime geared towards solving the problems of the country. When you saw the government giving free wax, was not in error because Liberia become a rich country maybe in the next 50 years. But what are people going to be waiting for? So people must begin to benefit from that resources. That's why you saw free university education. Because we're not going to wait for 50 years for the country to get rich. People benefit. The people need to benefit now. That's why the CDC government was spending millions of dollars annually to subsidize rice. Not that we didn't understand, but we know that people need to have affordable rice. That's why importers under the CDC government were being given cash to make sure that they kept the rice price down. And so we have come here today. You can already see the government is feeling on its incompetence. And that's why people say, oh, we are not talking. We will talk once a month. We will document them. We need to give them the chance to feel more. CDC trying to disrupt the people. No. So our president, because if we as a party, we want confusion in the country, we not consider a very small margin. It was a big sacrifice to concede less than 20,000 votes. And so we will not allow people who don't know what they are doing to use as scapegoats. No, we will keep the country peaceful. And our people will see that you don't have what it takes to lead the country. But you are already feeling on your own incompetencies. You don't know, and that's why when the LG said you keep the power on the basis of chance, as if you didn't know, you didn't anticipate. But you governed this country for 12 years. So you have got no excuse. Apparently you don't understand the challenges of the country. You are an elitist court. Trying to displace very poor people, a very, very low echelon of the government. You are targeting ordinary security officers in the police, the EPS, the DEA, immigration. That's very shameful on their part. That these are Liberians. They are not Sierra Leoneans. They are not Guineans. These are Liberian people who were hired. Even the salary they were making is not even enough to take them home. And then you are dismissing them. You went to the Ministry of State, these people that were helping to maintain the Ministry of State properties around the country. You summarily dismiss them. You're trying to assume power. That's not power. That's cowardice. Targeting vulnerable people is a show of cowardice and strength. So on this note, I will now proceed to prepare text. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, we have assembled here today to continue the documentation of a failing regime. A regime which is fast collapsing under the weight of its own incompetencies. A regime which came to power through an electoral accident. A victory deep within the margin of error. A victory of chance instead of change. We can clearly see that in just 5 months, the United Party regime has become anti-democratic, anti-peace, anti-rule of law. It's taking the country backwards, eroding all the democratic gains made in the consultation done under the CDC government. We are coming here today to condemn. We condemn in the strongest terms the recent attack on the vehicle of the former Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Madam Joanna Taylor. The former Vice President has complained about inadequate security protection, and the recent attack on her vehicle marks an alarming threat to her person. The government of Liberia is requested to take immediate steps to remedy this precarious situation. Protection of the former Vice President is the responsibility of the current government. It is very irresponsible for the government to turn a blind eye to the situation. It has also come to the attention of the CDC that the government of Liberia has fraudulently procured 285 yellow machines. The most laughable story. But I see you United Party folks are dramatizing on social media, dramatizing the procurement of 285 yellow machines. Information gala speech to an apparent asset swapping involving some natural resources of the country. If the information is correct, it marks a dangerous bravado. The government is trying to leverage the natural resources of the country. We demand full accountability and transparency in this matter, and the CDC is activating the necessary mechanisms to ensure the protection of the natural resources of the country. While we welcome initiatives here towards the development of the country, such must be within the confines of the law and the national interest. The United Party government has launched a series of attacks on the rule of law by disregarding and disrespecting the Supreme Court ruling, taking arbitrary actions against telling officials in the government. The United Party government has also failed to prosecute alleged murderers of peaceful citizens in Lufa, Lima, and Monrovia County. We demand immediate prosecution of these alleged murderers who are roaming free, while the victim families continue to live in agony. As a matter of fact, we'll be sending a letter to the Attorney General and Justice Minister of the Republic demanding the prosecution of these people who were involved in the killing of peaceful citizens on the guise of electioneering. We also categorically reject the bogus police investigative report of the murder of peaceful protesters in Kinjor, Brankin, County. We demand a full independent investigation. The police cannot conduct an investigation that tries to exonerate itself. We also, in the stronger term, condemn the kidnapping at the airport of a Liberian blogger, Liberia Capet, aka Bazo.
Yes.
Bazo was kidnapped at the airport upon his arrival in the country without charge. We heard for many days while the government went around looking for complainants. Such actions are reckless, they are counterproductive, anti-peace, and are a threat to the peace and security of the country. Because if we begin to start marshalling men and women to begin to demand justice will be misrepresented and misinterpreted. And so it is in the interest of the government, in the interest of peace, for the government to desist from witch hunting, targeting, and some of the reckless behavior. As you are aware, recently, the police inspector general was daring people, daring Liberians that they cannot go into the street for protesting.
Yeah.
And then Liberian, we as a party, at this stage, we have not reached the point where we're going to be engaging in protest. But what we will do is defend the right of any Liberian. And I want to repeat myself, the CDC at this stage has not made a decision to engage in the organization of any protest. But the CDC as a party, we support the right of all Liberians at any time, anywhere, who decide to protest will defend their rights.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because the right to protest is a constitutionally guaranteed right in the Liberian Constitution. That's why you saw for 6 years. Who are protesting in this country because the police were instructed. When you saw water and food from the police, it was not by accident. It was a deliberate national policy decision of the government to provide them water and food. Because the CDC as a party in opposition was a victim of police brutality. This headquarters was invaded on November 7, 2011. People were killed. Jefferson Tamakoli, who says that today, were arrested multiple times. Almost 10 times. He was tortured under the Unity Party government. He was tortured severally. It's the same government that has come to power. Let the government be warned that pre-2018 activities will not be tolerated. Let the government be warned that the CDC is not silent in our that no. The CDC is providing you an opportunity to drown yourself.
Thank you.
There will be part of the narrative that will say, oh, the people left power and they were trying to disrupt the peace. Like I said, they want to be disruptive of the peace that we built. We have contested the election result, we have won the vote. And then I'm sure by then, God making and other have been activated to bring terror on the country. Up to not to do that. Up to not to do that. Opted not to do that. We opted not to go for the ugly parts of the country because for us, power is not the ultimate. The safety, the happiness of Liberian people is more important because we are aware that people in Liberia live day by day, because we are the owners of the country, because we grew up in poverty. I know, I live day by day. My family lived day by day in the 80s, the 90s. We went and fetched chicken green. And any disruption in the fetching of chicken green meant we will not have food on our day. So it is against that backdrop I would think. So it's not the government we are looking at. No. When you see the CDC, it's calm and peaceful. It's not the government. We are looking at the ordinary people. It's not the government. The government is just a beneficiary of our strategic analysis. That the country deserves the peace and tranquility. But we do not want excuses. But we are indeed coming back to power because already in 5 months. In 5 months, you can already see the difference between the CDC government and the Unity Party government. Before they didn't understand the difference between the CDC and the Unity Party. The Unity Party used lies, propaganda. They said we don't have a strong propaganda, and I agree. I do agree. The CDC, as a government field, we make sure we have propaganda. But when you use propaganda to come to power, you cannot use propaganda to lead. Because the real issues will confront you.
Come on.
The real issues will confront you. You have to solve the real problems. Not going to use propaganda to govern. No. You have to solve real issues. You have to confront the importers. You have to deal with them.
Yes.
Under our regime, President Weah, being a son of Gibraltar, instructed the government to pay subsidy to keep the rice price down.
Yes. So true.
President Weah, when U.S. students were demonstrating, President Weah instructed the government to declare free tuition. People thought it was a joke. People thought it was a bluff. No, it's not a bluff. Before we left office, the enrollment at the UM more than doubled as a result of free tuition. More than doubled. The pay of the university went to 3.4 million per month. Because the free education, the free tuition scheme multiplied the number of students that will be enrolling. And when the number of students that enrolling multiplied, more sections are being created. When more sections are created, the university will have to hire more professors who have to think for longer hours. So these decisions by the CDC government were deliberate. When the CDC government took power in 2018, only 20,000 students were sitting wax annually. Before we left power, 50,000 students were sitting wax. And people are trying to lie. The same lie you told when you're in opposition that we're not paying for wax. Anybody who did wire here? Wire does not credit. Wire does not do step pay. No. If you don't pay a wax fee, you will not take the test. Even before the government started paying. So you should ask them. If somebody says, oh, the government owing wire, the government didn't pay. And you know about the government coming pay. It's a blatant false, it's a blatant lie. Because wire does not credit. Go to wire office. You don't pay. If the government didn't pay, the student will not take the test. So what they are alluding to, in fact, we reduce the government, the countries area to wire. Because before we left office, we pay around 700,000 against, and every year, yearly, every year, that not be paid by the government of Liberia, and not been paid for almost 30 years. We pay almost 700,000 against that will reduce every year. The wax fees were covered, were paid because they are prerequisite, they are precondition for the students sitting in the wax. And we challenge the government to continue these policies. The university must remain free, wax must remain free, they have to continue to subsidize rights. Because these are the things that directly impact the people. So we challenge you to continue these policies. And then attempt not to provide subsidy for the rights. You bring the raffle that bring people on yourself. So we're not going to interfere. We're not going to organize any protest, no. But if the people decide to protest, we defend their right to protest. So if there are some merchants in the government that are trying to play policy with the rights by adding $1 or $2 and all that kind of thing, they must think twice. In the CDC government, we were paying importer subsidy to keep the rice price down.
Oh, yes.
Like we said, the government continues their harassment of ordinary civil servants by wrongful dismissals, unwarranted transfers, intimidation. These acts of the government have the potential to create serious discord in the civil service and undermine the peace and tranquility of the country. Like I said earlier, we have also been informed that police officers recruited during the CDC regime have been targeted, harassed, suspended, and dismissed for political reasons. This is very wrong and unacceptable. The government is seriously politicizing the security service of the state. It started with the mass dismissal of EPA agents. Now, police administration has followed suit. The Coalition for Democratic Change CDC also welcomes the signing of Executive Order 131 creating the Office for the War and Economic Plan put in Liberia to address abuses and violations of human rights committed during the 14 years of civil war. We also thank the House of Representatives and Liberian Senate for passing a resolution for the establishment of a court, the jurisdiction of prosecuting war and economic crimes. It is hoped that we can finally bring closure to 14 years of civil crisis in Liberia. The CDC also strongly believes that even in the wake of these steps taken for the establishment of the code, the implementation of the Paraguay Forum, as recommended by the TRC, is equally paramount for attaining genuine and lasting peace, reconciliation, and unity in Liberia. While employing these monumental steps towards addressing the abuses of the past, we should not lose sight of the historical issues of exclusion, marginalization, abuse of power, and the disregard of the rule of law, which culminated in the country 14 years of evil. So do not play politics with the establishment of our economic grounds code. Because unless you are not a student of Liberian history, you will understand that abuse of power, violation of human rights, and some of the very things that are happening today are the things that precipitated the civil crisis. So it will be mere mockery and hypocrisy. We are trying to establish a code while repeating the excesses of the past, while trying to activate former warlords to win havoc on the people. Because a civilized government now even has interacted during the campaign, confess murder. The reason why I'm using God Lake as an example is the only man who has gone on tape. I just want to set the record straight. He's a man who, because he's already a convict, and he's a man who gone on tape and confessed to murders. Yeah, she's gone on tape, and that's what I'm calling murder. Because we, on the Liberian law, everybody is presumed innocent. Somebody go on public radio and say, oh, I'm a murderer. I murder a lot of people. I murder hundreds of people. Yeah, we are forgiving him as a brother. But for you to have been introduced in the political theater in the 2023 election, so dangerous law. Very dangerous. Dangerous desperation on the part of the Unity Party. We are surprised international actors did not even condemn that. Because somebody who is a confessed brother should not have been anywhere near the politics of the country. And now the party against the Buddha is in power.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what could be happening behind the scene. We are getting information that people are being trained, this and that, this and that. Government should take note that all our top propaganda agents are activated. They keep in serious watch. We are already witnessing extrajudicial action of the government. The government is engaging in violation of rights. It's asking people to take the people saying, oh, the government, do you want to take the government to court? That's very laughable. But the government should not be asking citizens to take it to court. But the citizens do not have the resources to go to court. The reason why people will engage in protests is because they don't have the resources to go to court. People are living day by day. And so you should not violate the rights of people and say, oh, the people should go to court. So it's just simple elementary logic. But not demand ordinary people to say, oh, we violate the right to go to court.
Mysterious killing.
Yeah. We already see mysterious killing all around the country. Police initial engagement with citizens resulting in the death of people in jobs. Some that will continue for 6 years. In 6 years, there was no death at the hands of the police. So, people lied on the government. They lied about all being killed. They lied and lied and lied. They lied their way to power. You cannot lie your way to government. You are confronted with the practical challenges of governing the country. And we will stand aloof And will not give you the comfort of finding an alibi. Come on. The CDC will not be used as an alibi. Because President, we have already demonstrated that the Liberian people are far above the quest for power. And so we are all following Q. We are following His Excellency President. We are the example he has set. And that's why we'll be constructively engaged with the government. We'll keep the government feet to the fire. We will not be disruptive. The government will disrupt its own activity if it wants to. We will not be used. We will not be used. Will not be used. So, like we're saying, when such transgressions as flagrantly as violating Supreme Court decisions and protesters being shot by the police, which is meant to protect them, harassing and removing civil servants from position without justifiable reason, and politicizing the security forces through arbitrary dismissal, become commonplace. We are starkly reminded of the vices and vestiges of our difficult past that brought the country into crisis. These historical wrongs attended the Civil War, and they are sadly re-emerging that I've already indicated just a few months into the regime of the Unity Party. The electoral violence of 2023 perpetrated mainly by supporters of the Unity Party resulted in the death in Lofa, Nima, and Monrovia counties. And these deaths are not being investigated with demand, and maybe it will do a protest that will be protesting for. People in Lofa will not die in vain. Will be communicating formally. And the Minister of Justice and Attorney General to demand prosecution of people who were, these people were murdered on tape. These people were murdered on tape. In Lofa, people were murdered on tape. In Monrovia, they were murdered on tape. And we saw it. And the culprits, the alleged culprits and perpetrators are running free. That is totally unacceptable. Very uncivilized. It was important to give the government opportunity, give the government space. But those people who died, as them will not go in vain. The perpetrators will be prosecuted with demand prosecution. And so it will start doing any protests. I will be protesting for. What? Yeah, we'll be demanding the prosecution of the murderers in Lofa. We'll be demanding the prosecution of the person who killed Joshua. We put that there also in Nima. We'll be demanding prosecution. The government should take note. Because these people were Liberians. They had the right to political participation. So the government should begin. Because some of these people were already indicted, were charged and indicted. The government should proceed with the prosecution of these people. And we are also surprised that definite silence of our international partners. Because they are not demanding, for instance, the prosecution of people who committed murder during the election. These people must be prosecuted because these people committed these crimes on tape. Council of Churches should demand the prosecution of the alleged murderers who murder people in cold blood in the name of politics. No Liberians should be murdered in the name of politics. Our politics should read the product. He says yes, the citizens did not up to arrest opposition people. No. Not that the citizens did not have the power to arrest. No. But the CDC government thought it was uncivilized. The CDC government could not met out violence. Violence are meted against Jefferson Koji. Violence are meted against Mobile Molu. Violence are meted against Akaros Gray. These people were arrested and tortured under the Unity Party. Yeah. Tortured severally, not one time, not two times. And so the CDC could not come to power and begin to arrest and torture people. That would be very contradictory. That would be against the revolution. So the lab is still the CDC. CDC knew exactly what it was doing. It was providing food for protesters because it realized that the Liberian Constitution guaranteed the right to peaceful assembly, the right to protest. So, to conclude, the consolidation of Liberian democratic credential and peace is critical to the prosperity of the country and will prevent the repeat of our troubled past. Thank you.
Amanda. Amanda. So, listen to the party's position on issues confronting democracy and attracting the survival of the state and its people. So the time is yours. Now have the opportunity as members of the folk estate to ask 3 questions. And we hope that your questions will be in the domain, the confines of what has been said and read. So please take due judicial and intellectual notes. Thank you. Yeah, please call your name and the station you represent.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Thomas Kojo Rolak. I work for Freedom FM
One
TV.
question, please.